Good evening, everybody. I'm Jonathan Grooms, and once again I'm coming to you from my lovely basement here in Cincinnati, Ohio. And tonight we are going to talk about my Rickenbacker 4003 bass. This is a fairly new one. A lot of guys have things against Rickenbackers. You either love them or you hate them. I can't say I love them or I hate them. I enjoy them. I think they are just one of the coolest looking basses around. Of course, I was a huge Geddy Lee fan, Chris Squire fan. Roger Glover of Deep Purple played a Rick. Of course, Paul McCartney played a Rick. I've always liked the jet glow, the black with the white binding and the shark fin inlays. The one modification I did do to this bass, I put a Hipshot Bridge on it. The original Rickenbacker bridges, in my opinion, well, for lack of a better term, they suck. Okay, sorry Rickenbacker, but your bridges suck. And there's a lot of people that will say the same thing that I do. The Hipshot is a vast improvement. It's much easier to intonate. It sounds better. The bass plays much smoother overall, in my opinion. It really does. It almost made this bass a different bass. So enough about Hipshot. Let's talk about the bass. It's in great shape, as you can see. It does have stereo outputs. This is the mono output I'm running it through right now. This is a stereo output, which you can run a stereo cable split off to two separate amps, which I do sometimes. The neck pickup would go to this amp here, and the bridge pickup I run into the Fender Bassman 610. And I generally run a little bit of overdrive distortion on that. It gets close to a Geddy Lee Chris Squire tone. This bass I've also added what is called the Zero Mod thumb rest. And you know, with a Rickenbacker, there's really no place to put your finger or rest your thumb. I do kind of rest it here and I can play here, but when you're up in this area to get some of these warmer sounds, there's no place to put your thumb. So somebody designed this ingenious little plexiglass device that screws right onto the pick guard with no modification whatsoever, and you can barely tell it's there. So I think that's great. It's a great thing to add to your Rick if you have one. This bass also has the little push-pull tone pot. Now, the original Rickenbackers had a capacitor on the bridge pickup that would bleed all the low end off. And you'll hear what I mean in a minute when I demonstrate this. That's why they had the sound that they did. The neck pickup was full range. The bridge pickup had a lot of the low end taken out of it. Well, people complained about that. So about 1980, 81 or so, they took that capacitor out of the circuit. And it became a much beefier sounding bass. But they didn't sound like the old Ricks. So fast forward about 10 or 15 years, people said, hey, why don't you put that circuit back in? They said, hey, why we put both of them in? So what they did was they added this tone control that you can push-pull, and when you pull it up, it puts that capacitor back into the circuit and makes it sound like the original Rick. Push it down, it's the modern, more modern tone. And we'll go ahead and check out what I'm talking about. We'll solo the bridge pickup. Now you're going to hear some hum. These are single coil pickups. They're notorious for humming. Rickenbackers are notoriously noisy in the studio, unfortunately. But here's the bridge pickup, the way an original Rick sounded. I'm going to push in the vintage control, and you're going to hear the difference. You probably heard that sudden burst of low end there if you've got good speakers or headphones on. Modern tone. Vintage tone. Now, let's go ahead and bring both pickups in. Now, this is what the original Ricks sounded like. So there you have that, and then if we push it in, we get this. And if we add a little bit of distortion on it and go ahead and take that vintage control back out, we can get a little bit of Geddy Lee going on here, I think. Let's see what we got. So you can see we can get that kind of Geddy, Chris Squire thing going. I'm not even going to attempt to play roundabout, so don't ask. Anyway, that's basically what goes on with these Ricks. You either love them or you hate them. I tend to enjoy this bass. I do use it a lot live for some of the rock bands that I'm in. It's lightweight, it's comfortable. You can't go wrong with a Rick sometimes, you know? It's just a matter of personal choice. But with that, I hope that was a little bit informative for you, and we'll see y'all next week. All right? Take care.